This cabinet didn't look like much at first. There was water damage, veneer lifting, structural instability, missing hardware, and honestly, most people would have passed on it. But I don't look at furniture at its lowest point. I look at structure because if the structure can be corrected, the rest can be rebuilt. This wasn't cosmetic, this was corrective restoration. The real question wasn't, can it look better? It was, can it be trusted again? Let's get into it. Before I think about paint or finish or anything visual, I assessed the structure. One foot was loose, a screw was missing, water had softened parts of the frame, and the veneer was lifting. If the base isn't solid, everything else just decoration. And I don't decorate problems, I correct them. This is usually the point where someone decides if it's worth the effort. For me, this is where restoration actually begins. Before anything else, the hardware comes off. I don't work around hardware. I remove it completely because you can't assess a surface properly if it's partially covered. Each screw is removed carefully, nothing stripped, nothing forced. Old hardware tells a story, but it also hides damage, and I need to see everything. Clean surface, clean start. That's where restorations begin. Before sanding, before repairs, before anything cosmetic, I clean. Not lightly, thoroughly. Dust, oils, old polish residue, all of that affects adhesion. If you skip cleaning, your finish fails. So I degrease the surface and wipe everything down carefully. Corners, edges, detail work. You can't build over contamination. Clean surface, clear foundation. That's discipline. The first thing I addressed was the instability. That loose foot, it could just be tightened, realigned, reset properly. The missing screw was replaced, but more importantly, the tension was corrected because if the foundation shifts, everything above it eventually shifts too. Structural work isn't glamorous. It doesn't show up in the final reveal, but it determines whether the piece lasts and I restore for longevity. Water damage is one of the most common and most ignored problems in furniture restoration. You can't paint over it and expect the finish to last. Here, I'm correcting the damaged areas, stabilizing the surface, and preparing it properly so future repairs and finishes won't fail. I'm checking that the wood fibers are fully stable. If they're still soft or compromised, any filler or primer applied over it will eventually fail. Once all that work was complete, I moved into stripping. This cabinet had layers, and those layers need to come off. Stripping resets the surface. It removes buildup, it removes inconsistency, and it reveals what you're actually working with. I don't like building on top of uncertainty, so I strip back to truth. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it's honest, and honest surfaces hold finishes better. Veneer work is different. It's not structural, it's surface integrity. But it still matters because once veneer starts lifting, it doesn't correct itself, it spreads. So each section has to be lifted carefully, cleaned underneath, then reset. Pressure matters here. Too much and it cracks, too little and it won't bond properly. This is slow work, intentional work. It's not flashy, but it protects the integrity of the piece long term. And that's always the goal. If veneer isn't blended carefully, the repair can show through even after finish is applied. Here, I'm watching edges pressure closely. Veneer doesn't give second chances. Sanding isn't about aggression, it's about control. I'm not trying to remove the piece, I'm preparing it. I sand evenly with intention, with the right grit for the stage I'm in. Too coarse and you'll damage the surface. Too fine, you don't create adhesion. The goal is smooth but receptive. Sanding is what tells the next layer you're allowed to bond here. And if sanding is rushed, everything after it shows. So I don't rush it. New hardware meant new measurements and new holes. I measured twice here. Even small misalignments can make a finished piece feel slightly off. I move on to a full strip of the piece. This removes old finishes, buildups, and inconsistencies, so the new finish starts on a clean foundation. Good finishes start long before paint ever touches the surface. Any leftover finish, paint, or residue can interfere with adhesion later. Here I'm watching for areas that hold on to finish, residue, and paint, especially the corners and carved sections. The drawer bottoms were beyond repair, so they weren't patched, they were replaced. New cuts, new boards, new support, then new slides installed. Because a drawer that sticks isn't restored, it's inconvenient. When someone opens this cabinet, it should feel solid, smooth, intentional. Functions matter just as much as appearance. Refinement is mechanical too. Even slight misalignment in slide placement can cause long-term sticking. So I'm checking movement before final tightening. In intentional areas, stain was applied, not to darken, but to add dimension. Stain should complement paint, not compete with it. Apply evenly, wipe back properly, balance tone. It's subtle work, but subtle work creates richness. This cabinet required a full finish system: priming, painting, staining, and sealing. Each layer has a purpose, and skipping steps is how finishes fail over time. This isn't about trends, it's about building a finish that protects the wood and honor the craftsmanship of the piece. Once everything was clean and fully dry, I primed. On this particular piece, primer wasn't optional. For me, it creates adhesion and it seals the surface and it stabilizes what's underneath. If I would have skipped the primer, my paint could have eventually told on me, so I won't skip it. Even coverage, thin layers, proper dry time, because durability starts here. For this piece, I choose to spray the finish. Spraying gives me full control over consistencies, surface texture, and coverage, especially on a detailed piece like this. I don't rush spray work. I build it light, control passes. Even distance, even pressure, even overlap. That's how you avoid runs. That's how you avoid dry spray. That's how you get that smooth, refined surface. Each coat flashes properly before the next layer goes on. No heavy buildup, no shortcuts. Spray finishing isn't about speed, it's about precision. And on a piece like the Beaumont, precision matters. Between coats, I'm checking surface texture and making sure I'm not building too heavy too quickly. Trapped moisture or uneven layering can compromise durability. For protection, I use satin poly, no wax. Poly gives strong long-term durability, especially for high-use furniture. It locks in the color, it protects the surface, it resists wear. I apply evenly and allow proper cure times between coats because durability isn't visible in a thumbnail, but it shows up over time. And I build for longevity. And you know what I always like to say? The outside matters, but the inside matters too. I don't leave the drawers unfinished. They get clean, conditioned, smooth. Because when someone opens this cabinet, that movement should feel intentional, not dusty, not neglected. Drawers should slide smoothly, smell clean, feel finished. That's part of refinement. It's not what people see, it's what they experience. Precision matters here. Alignment is everything. These final details are what separates a rush project from a refined restoration. So once everything cured, hardware was installed, measured carefully, aligned properly, spacing double checked because details matter. Hardware should feel intentional, not adjusted. This is where everything comes together quietly, cleanly, correctively. The Beaumont cabinet is fully restored, structurally sound, functional, and finished to last. This is the Beaumont cabinet, structurally corrected, mechanically restored, properly finished, not rushed, not disguised, rebuilt. When you restore something correctly, you're not just changing how it looks, you're extending how long it lives. And that's the Walkwood standard. I'm glad you're here. This is why I don't rush restorations. Pieces like this deserve time, technique, and intention. If you enjoy seeing real furniture restoration, from damage to heirloom, subscribe for future projects. Thanks for watching.